Hello, and welcome to this video on creating bar and column graphs or charts. As with many data visualizations, there are plenty of software options available to create these in. Today, we're going to see how to create them in Google Sheets. Before we get into making them, let's have a glance at what we're looking to make. These are just very basic sketches with a lot of potential variations and applications. We can see here we've got two examples which can show the same information, but the one on the left is the column chart where the bars go vertical or up and down, and on the right is the bar chart, which has the bars going horizontal or side to side. So for the column chart, the x-axis on the bottom will have different categories, and on the y-axis, the vertical one, it'll have the values of the categories. This is simply the other way around for bar charts. Okay, so now that we have a basic picture of what we want, let's go make one. Okay, so we are in Google Sheets now, and we've already got a little data set to work with to make our bar and column charts. For this example, we're going to be looking at the different heights of kaiju or giant monsters in the Showa era movies and the MonsterVerse era movies. There are other eras, but we're just going to be looking at these two. Okay, so we're going to be doing three different graphs. We're going to start with just the Showa era heights. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight our data, including the headers, for the name of the monster and their height in meters. Then we're going to go to Insert up at the top menu and go down to Chart. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Not all charts are this simple, but this one came out kind of as we were expecting it to. We've got the name of the monster down on the bottom, and we've got the height in meters over at the side, and it even has our headers or access titles filled in for us, and it's got the name of the graph as well. We'll move it over to the side. Okay, so in the little menu over on the right, there is some customizing that you can do. The only thing in Customize that we're going to change for our chart is under the series. We want the data labels to show up. So over in our cells over here, it gives us the exact number for the meters in height, and that's a little harder to see on the graph. So we're going to turn on the numbers. If we scroll down, then that's this data labels. All right, let's make the second graph. And this time we're going to make it a bar graph. That first one there is the column graph, which means that the bars are going up and down instead of side to side. So let's highlight the name and the MonsterVerse height. Do Insert again and Chart. And it gave us another column graph, but we can change that. Let's move it down so that they're not overlapping. And then in the setup over here, under Chart Type, it's a column chart right now, but we can click on that and change it so that it's a bar chart so that you can see what that looks like. Okay, again, this chart looks pretty good. It's pretty smart in figuring out that we wanted the names over here, and it's got the access title, got the height in meters along the bottom, and we've also got a chart title. And there's a lot that you can customize in this menu over here at the side. The only thing we're going to do right now is under the series, we're going to add those data labels like we did in the first chart. So that looks pretty good. Let's scroll back up to the top and do another chart that shows both the Showa and the MonsterVerse height so that we can compare them easier. So we're going to highlight all of our information here and again go up to Insert and Chart. And now we have a chart that shows both. Okay, now that it's out of the way and we can see all of our graphs now, let's do some customizing because it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's customize it a little bit. We looked at series already and we added the data label, so let's go ahead and do that again. But we also maybe want to change the colors so it's not blue and red. So let's just click on, instead of all series, we'll just change the Showa era. And we'll do fill color a dark green, and then we'll select the MonsterVerse and change the fill color to a light green. So we'll notice that the axis over here that has the height in meters goes in 50-meter increments, and that makes it a little harder to read. So let's see if we can get some smaller grid lines in there so that it makes it a little easier. There's an option for grid lines and ticks. And this is the vertical axis that we were referring to, so that's correct. That's what we want to leave it as. And major grid lines is checked already, but let's add the minor grid lines. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and close that out. All right, so that wraps up this video. We've covered the basics on creating bar and column charts in Google Sheets. The version of Sheets you're using might mean that some of the features I showed are in different places or aren't available, or alternatively, you might have more features that you didn't see on my screen. Things should generally be roughly the same though. The Google support website is really useful for learning how to do things, including graphs and formulas. Please reach out to the library too if you have questions, and thanks for watching.